What's going on, guys? So today I have a video on an expensive knife. People often ask for expensive knife reviews. I mean, you guys know I've done it all. I've done reviews on a $1 knife. I've done reviews on, a $1,200 knife and pretty much everything in between. I always see a sweet spot at about $50 to $100. You can get a lot of awesome options out there, very good quality for the price tag. But occasionally, there's people who want to see cheap stuff, and there's plenty of people out there who want to see really expensive stuff. So today we happen to be talking about a very expensive knife. This one is a Curtis Knives F3 Compact. This one specifically runs about $750. $750 is a lot of money for one knife. All right. So, I mean, for some people, it's no big deal. For other people, it's just something that would never ever happen. They wouldn't spend more than $100 on a pocket knife. But to each their own. This one I got in trade. I did not buy this. For knives that are really high end like this, regardless of whatever it is, across the board, could be custom, could be really high-end production. I trade for that kind of stuff. I personally do not spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on one knife. I just can't justify that. Currently, with the money I make and my bills and everything else, I can't just go out. I mean, if I really wanted to save and I really wanted to sell a bunch of stuff to do so, I probably could. I'm just saying I don't put a lot of high priority on that. If I can trade a bunch of things to get something expensive every now and again, I do so, but I'm not going out and spending that kind of money. But there are plenty of people out there who are, so that's why I'm making this video. And for all the people who never will have one, maybe get some insight to it. So anyway, this is how it comes. There's a custom pouch here and a Curtis Knives, just a Velcro patch here. You can, of course, take this off if you don't want it on there. But unzip the pouch. Has a really, really nice liner, almost like velour type thing. Super, super soft though. All right. Here's the knife. And then we have business card, Curtis Knives. There's some personal contact information if you want to talk to him directly. Although his stuff is pretty popular. It's popular enough, I should say. It's on a few different dealer sites. All right, so if you're interested in these, you can see a lot of different models that are available. Now the F3, the compact version obviously is just that. It's a smaller version of the F3. This, I believe, is the smallest version of this particular model. And there's all different variations on this. There's a couple different blade shapes. There's a bunch of different coloration patterns. This particular one has kind of a tumbled, just flat titanium handle. It is a frame lock here. But this has color anodized pivot. The entire pivot system is color anodized. The back spacer is color anodized. The pocket clip and all of the hardware, all the screw heads throughout the entire knife are also color anodized. All right, not sure how well the cameras could pick that up, but that's just one particular combination of things. The very base price for this knife is $625, totally plain. No pizzazz, let's just say. Maybe that's not the word a lot of people would use, but no flair, no like extra stuff. Once you start adding all these different things, they add expenses. All right, so $625 on the very low end, all the way up to about $800 for like full colorized and all that kind of stuff. Actually, it goes beyond that. It goes for about $1,200 or $1,300 if you have this exact knife with the Damascus blade. All right, so quite a bit of range there depending on the specific features, or extra add-ons, I guess you would call it. So first, let's talk about some specs and stuff, get that out of the way for all the people who like the details, and then we'll get into, my experiences with this, because I've had this for a while now. I did EDC when I first got it, revisited, I think, twice, 2 different times where I carried it just for the day. I didn't baby it. I didn't go out of my way to purposely use it super hard either, just because of the higher value. Kind of wanted to keep it somewhat nice, for trade value, to keep the value up. But I didn't, like I said, I didn't baby it at all, cutting cardboard or anything like that. Just wanted to see how it's actually going to perform. But yeah, some specs, 2.5 inches on our blade. All right, it's hollow ground. You can see the grinds on here. It's actually really nice, the grind style. All right, I believe the F3 had 2 different type blades. All right, so let's get into some specs on this. Our blade is 2.5 inches long. It's hollow ground, and the steel choice is a CTS XHP, which is very nice. I mean, I have a lot more experience with that steel through cold steel. They happen to use that in a lot of models. I do like the grinds quite a bit on here. It's a little bit of a kind of a Spanto style blade. Closed 3.75 inches. All right, titanium frame lock here. Full open size is 6.25 inches. All right, but here's the kicker. 5 ounces. So it is short, but it's chunky. You can see how thick the titanium handles are, as well as the blade being a little bit on the thicker side. This is 4 millimeters thick, or 0.16 inches. You know, it slices very well. I mean, because you have a thicker blade and it's a shorter blade, you would think that it would have more of that kind of wedge effect. You know, there's a lot of like overbuilt knives. I mean, this might be considered to be overbuilt, but the grinds are very nice on it. It does come to a very lean edge. It slices, you know, awesome. Hard to keep it in focus, but you guys can probably see that. You can kind of see the secondary point right above my thumb. It's very, very subtle, very smooth transition there, but it is there. All right, you can see stonewash finish on the blade. It is glass-like. When you feel it, it literally feels like glass. All right, super, super smooth finish. You can see the logo on the back. All right, Curtis Knives. That travels into the pivot and the pocket clip. The pocket clip is very cool as well. I kind of thought when I first got this that this would be fragile because there's so many cutouts here and it's kind of thin on the edges. So I thought, you know, maybe that's going to bend or have some kind of problem or something, but it never did. It was totally fine. It carries very nice in the pocket. You can see how much is sticking up there. All right, because it's a shorter knife, I'd like to see more of a deep conceal clip, but I had no issues at all as far as carry. It was totally comfortable. Came in and out of the pocket really nicely. Again, you can see the very small back spacer there. It's actually pretty aggressively textured, as is the jimping on the back of the blade, all right? So it's very purposeful. It's not uncomfortable. Your thumb really locks in there, but it's not like ripping up your skin or anything like that. There's a fine line between, you know, aggressive and uncomfortable, and this is right there. It's as purposeful as you're going to get without being uncomfortable. All right, but mostly flow-through design there. It is a frame lock. You can see there is a insert in there as well. There is no blade play. I mean, this locks up absolutely perfectly. The pivot system is running on IKBS, all right, Coma-Korth bearing system, so it's super smooth. Obviously, you can see it is a flipper here. Pops out very nicely, very quickly. I did notice, though, when I am flipping this knife out, the end of the pocket clip just so happens to land like right where my middle finger is, just because it's a little bit of a smaller knife. Sometimes I'll purposely put my finger on top of it just so it's comfortable, but just, you know, randomly pulling out and grabbing it, there's a couple times where I just put a little bit of pressure on my finger. Not a huge deal or anything, just something I happened to notice, so I thought I'd mention it. But yeah, this has a what's called a spot. SPOT stands for stop pin over travel. So basically this oversized large pivot on the back also doubles to keep the lock bar from over traveling. You can see obviously it hits there. All right, so you're not going to accidentally overextend that or anything in unlocking the knife, which is very nice. So I want to focus a little bit on this flipper here, which is kind of unique and different just in its shape. It's a little bit large. It does stick out quite a bit. It's kind of like a, I don't know, a person with big ears or something. They might be a great person, but you happen to notice those ears. But there's two distinctive spots you can kind of use to flip this out. When I first got this, I was using the tip of my finger right here. You can see obviously this part is jimped. And using the tip of my finger to almost push forward to pop that out. Now that is very easy to do. However, on top, there's a smooth portion that's kind of curved, and you can use this portion to pull down. So depending on, I guess, your style of how you like to use your flipper, some people, I mentioned this in the past, use like the side of their finger and kind of sweep down on it, as opposed to other people who like to push in. So I guess, I mean, whatever person you are, there's two different options there, all right? It's comfortable to push in as well as sweep down. But like I said, I mean, that bearing system is super smooth. The lockup is absolutely perfect. So there's no issues at all with opening and closing the knife. I mean, overall, I really, really do like this knife. It's very, very expensive. You do get some of those higher end features. You do get just kind of the allure of having a knife that not a lot of people have. You know what I'm saying? It's not this production knife. It's not the Benchmade or Spyderco everyone else has in their pocket. It's something special and different, and that's why that price tag is up there. I like the knife a lot, but I'll tell you 100% that if I had the medium size or something that's just a little bit larger than this, I would really, really like it. You know what I mean? Like right now, I kind of like it for the price. I'm not super into the compact personally. I think, again, because it's chunky too, I don't tend to like super short knives that are super chunky. I don't care about a really small knife, but it has to kind of make sense. I have a William Henry knife I'm going to be doing a video in the future. That knife is tiny, but it's kind of proportionate. It's tiny, but it's slim. Does that make sense? So, I mean, it's not a hit against the knife, it's just my personal preference with it, but it does Open and close, great. It locks up, awesome, you know, and it cuts very well. At the end of the day, that's what matters, right? How it's gonna cut. For me, what makes a knife great is when it cuts great, but it's also super comfortable. All right, so that's the only thing that's lacking with this one for my, you know, personal taste is that comfort factor because it's a little bit shorter and chunkier. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have a Curtis knife, let me know down below what you have. Do you carry it? Is it just part of your collection? Getting into the $700–800 range, that's it's a lot of money. And I know a ton of guys that have stuff like this, but they just don't use it because it's an investment. They buy them, you know, they fondle them, which is nothing, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Maybe cut a box open, whatever, put it back in the safe, that kind of a thing. Nothing wrong with that at all. And trust me, I mean, some people might say it more than it's actually true. Like, oh yeah, I got this knife and I carry it beat up. There's a couple people that do that. But generally speaking, there's not a lot of people out there carrying $700–800 knives and throwing them on a desk or a workbench, you know, and not really caring about them. Even if you're rich, it's really tough to you know, misuse and abuse expensive things. So anyway, this is my first knife from Curtis Knives. I am thoroughly impressed with, you know, just build quality and everything else. His design is pretty interesting as well. I just know that I happen to like a larger version. So this particular one will be sold or traded. Either way, I'll probably end up putting this up on IG at some point. So if you guys are interested, of course, you can check it out over there. But in the meantime, again, looking for your feedback with your Curtis knives, what you thought of them, if you had them before, if you still have them, and especially if you EDC one. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with another video. Take care.